How y'all doing out there? This is the Black Effect, the real Black Effect, where we have real discussions about things in the black community. We keep it real here. No faking, none of that corny stuff. You know how we do. I want to talk about what's going on right now between Dame Dash and Camron. And I must say this. I mean, I was a huge fan of Camron growing up. If you look at my prom picture, I wore a pink suit with my date. If you see my picture, which I may take here and put a clip for y'all. This is how much impact the Dipset and Cameron had on the youth at the time. And I'm from Dallas, so I'm not from New York. I was in Dallas at the time, and Cameron definitely had a big influence in Texas and things like that. The Dipset as a whole, Joel Santana, Jim Jones, Freaky Ziggy. So it pains me to say this, and I've already kind of touched on this back when Cameron and Jim Jones was having a beef, and you saw Jim Jones in tears having to defend his position of, basically give you a history lesson on where he stood and how much he's done for diplomats and Cameron. A person shouldn't have to do that, but that's Cameron for you. I'm here to tell you, bro, I do not rock with Camron. I mean, like I said, it's sad to say, but your heroes let you down. It's how it is, you know. And I gotta tell a person when they're wrong, like, but I've just seen Cameron do this with too many people. Now him and Dame Dash are in a back and forth. Me personally, if you've done something for me, like, people don't have in this world, in this day and life, man, you don't have good friends. It's hard. They come once in a lifetime. People to help you, get to the next level once in a lifetime. They God sent. I never badmouth them or make them feel uncomfortable. I'm not gonna go against them for the world unless they just completely wrong, what I'm saying, and doing something wrong, like they molesting kids or something like that. Then I'm, have to go against them, of course, and distance myself and tell them about themselves. And I may just, not want to be around them, or they just totally flip the script and I find out they sacrificing people, something like, it's got to be something very extreme. You understand? But what's going on with Cameron and Dame Dash is a bunch of bickering back and forth. Again, the same thing like with Jim Jones. But the catalyst is Cameron's etiquette, man. Cameron could debt all of that. He could have deaded it with Jim Jones. Like, he gets on, but he has a ego. He has this ego. He know that Cameron know that he basically, that Killer Cam stuff is a facade. You understand? It's a facade. We seen that when Jim Jones was Jim Jones was the muscle behind Dipset. They made sure, and Cameron was the talent, but Cameron tried to put on this persona. Killer Season, man, that was the most unrealistic movie you could probably ever see. That was not Cameron's life, man. You know, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, Killer Cam probably ain't never killed nobody, and that's fine. Like, nobody wants that. Like, we don't nobody. You shouldn't be doing that anyway. That's not cool. But that's just a name. Killer Cam, you've never killed anyone. And the thing is, bro, you go out and badmouth your friends, people who've done things for you. Backdoor them, go out and mess with their enemies, like the Mendici situation. You did with I wouldn't do stuff like that because it causes rift. Not to say you can't be your own person and cool with who you want to be cool with, but you pick and choose that. You understand? If it's gonna make my brother, who been with me through thick and thin, uncomfortable, then I'm gonna keep the person at a distance. I don't have to be cool with everybody. You seem like you be cool with people under duress. Like, you cool with 50 Cent because you under duress. You know what I'm saying? 50 Cent, first of all, you seem like right now, you seem like you were scared of him. At the time when Jim Jones was at the height of his career, back when you were cold at the time, Jim Jones, you had disappeared on the set. You left Jewels and Jim Jones high and dry. You left them high and dry. You disappeared, man. You can't do that as the boss. You left them, and so Jim Jones picked up the ball and ran with it, and it actually started taking off. Jim Jones was hot. He had the song "Ballin'." It was his time, and it was your time to come fall. Fall in line, play your position. Everybody still understood. Who was the leader of Dipset or whatever. Most people. And really, when it comes to leaders and all that, y'all all was leaders in y'all own right. But we understood the position. What I'm saying. He was still the capo. At the end of the day, he never bucked that. But he told the truth when you being absentee and just left. Then you come back, and when 50 Cent says one thing about Koch being a graveyard, you come back and make this whole big ordeal and put everybody, the whole Dipset in it, knowing that G Unit was the biggest thing at the time in New York and in the hip hop. You and them and Dipset, G Unit and Dipset should have been working together. So what? Like, that comment of Koch being a graveyard could have been ignored. Jim Jones was the one on it. Like, he wasn't tripping on that. They ended up, performing with G Unit, him and Jewels, which I mean, I'm pretty sure they understand that wasn't the right move to me. I wouldn't have done that, but okay, whatever. I understand why they did it. Because Camron was absent. But now you out here doing, like, look at what you doing to Dame. You ran on Jim Jones when he was fighting at the Rucker. He out there fighting for the set, bro. It's all on camera. You dipping and ducking and running while he getting it in fighting. It's like, bro, you always show tendencies. Mase roasted you, toasted you, said you had sex with your sister. Now you doing shows with him because you see that he's a formidable person, that he not gonna take your BS. So once again, it's like fear, and duress where you do things. Dame Dash, ain't got it like he used to have it. So you want to make a joke and meme out of him. It's like kicking your brother when he down. When you thought Jim Jones was down, you see him shedding tears, so you want to kick him when he down. Oh, we used to go over Joe Moore house and do. Bro, I don't respect what you be doing, Camron. And that's a bad thing. That's a sad thing, bro, because niggas used to be fans. But you try to hide behind this journalist stuff and all that, bro. You making Harlem look corny. You feel me? Like, and I'm not even from there, but you making things look corny. I respect Jim Jones out of the set. You understand? Because he was the heart behind Dipset. The blood that kept, that really fueled you. He really was. If you just go out, I grew up in the time, so I know. Like I said, I was always a fan of everybody, the whole Dipset. So I know. But like I said, you was one of my favorite artists at one time, bro. But like I said, man, when you meet your heroes, you really see, when you see them for who they are, bro. And it's like you showing your true colors now, man. Like you said, you see people down, you want to kick them. But when a nigga get tired of that, and start bombing on you, man, or really, turn up the heat, bro, then you start, you wanna be cool and try to backpedal this stuff. And it's like, man, I just wouldn't deal with you anymore if it was me. I'd just be like, look, man, look, what we did some back in the past, but I just don't mess with that guy. That guy got some funny ways, man. And you really do, man. Like, you got some suspect ways, Camron. And I don't respect it, I don't believe God respect it. I don't believe no real nigga respect it. We could say what we want about Dame Dash and, and all that, but what he's saying is right, bro. Like, you need to, examine yourself, man. Check yourself. You got something to say, talk to your brothers in person. People who helped you. You understand? Who got you on platforms. So with that being said, it's the Black Effect. The real Black Effect. I'm gone.